I get it.
Okay, mbijan raganya.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. Important. Nsila ID soto.
Sa soto. Sorry. I get it.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka.
Bare.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Birim koyna fo katon.
Bari si kodo kino katon nim fo bolong blabe.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 ti nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale le dadi man domorol dul fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ma fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
barka ba. Ni lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bukani la ko la barka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abarka.
Of owning your dream homes, EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3 or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
When we touch down, better broke down.
With Gamtel G-Fiber, now you can enjoy super fast internet in gigabytes. G-Fiber is affordable, stable, secured, and accessible to homes, businesses, and enterprises. With Gamtel G-Fiber, the future is speed. Gamtel, creating a brighter future in communication.
All right.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baluwo?
Baluwo? What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.
Hello and welcome to the brunch live on Kerr. Fatou. I'm Lamin Cham, and wherever you are watching us, welcome to our weekly current affairs program on Kerr Fatou Live. This week we will discuss, of course, the incident in Sanyang. What are the security and even, societal implications for that ugly incident? We will go to the National Assembly and catch up with the controversial debate on the skin bleaching repeal bill. Plus, we will talk sports. As you can see, perhaps you must have noticed that I have some sporting mood in my outfit today, because the Gambia may well be on course to qualify for the African Nations Cup for the very first time. We will discuss the preparations, the permutations, and what we have ahead of us, going to those two crucial matches, one in Banjul and the other in Kinshasa. First, though, let me introduce my panelists. I have the Honorable Sheriff Gomez. He was a very senior army officer and later minister, and a security expert for that matter. Mr. Gomez, welcome.
Thank you, Lord.
And I have Neneh Freeda Gomez. He is the spokesperson for CA, that is the Citizen Alliance. Now, Citizen Alliance have been busy in the provinces, particularly on this occasion, LRR, and she will tell us about the activities there, and then we will, of course, come all together to discuss the Sanyang and the skin bleaching bill, that is now currently being debated in the National Assembly. So that's about it as far as topics is concerned in the brunch this week. I'm Lavin Cham, and once again, welcome. Let me begin with you, Neneh Freeda, and CA. I mean, you've been busy, like you said here on the previous program, that you may be going to the provinces. Let me first ask you, what were you doing in CA, in LRR? You said you were going on a sensitization tour, which I told you may well be a political campaign. So what were you doing in LRR?
Thank you.
Good to be with you on this platform.
Yeah.
Back to you, Lauren, on the question, what was CA doing in Sierra?
Yeah.
We didn't start with,
LRR.
We didn't start with LRR. Of course, the objective here is to conduct a nationwide tour. And when we say a nationwide tour, we intend to visit all the regions. We started about a month ago or 3 weeks ago with North Bank, and we toured the length and breadth of North Bank. So this is the second phase. Actually, the third phase, because we've done the combos as well. We've done all the parts of combo, and then this is the third phase. We went to LRR, that's Lower River region, and like I say, it's a voter registration sensitization tool. This is election year. As a political party, we're stakeholders, and it's not only the role of the IEC to do such. As stakeholders, it's also our responsibility. And we should take part in such a very, very important exercise. It's been, 10, 11 years since voter registrations were done in the country. And right now, there is need for a mass registration. There is a huge population that needs to be registered. But do they really know what it entails? Are they really prepared? Do they know what it takes to be registered? Do they know the importance of it? So we thought it very, very fitting and timely to embark on such an exercise to complement IEC's effort, as well as, of course, as stakeholders, there's an advantage if we do it, that people understand that we take this exercise very, very serious and also align with what we are telling them. Well, it could be an added advantage. But, at the end of the day, we are talking to the populace. We're not only talking to CA sympathizers or CA members, we are talking to Gambians. So at the end of the day, we're talking to everybody that belongs to even our party and other political parties. So it's a national exercise. It's not a partisan exercise.
So what was the message? Get prepared to acquire a voter's card.
Well, yes, very much so. But then again, when you go to places, of course, they need to know who's talking to them. And we have posters, we have T-shirts that will attach us to who are conducting this exercise, and this is Citizens Alliance. So we've introduced our party, that this is the Citizens Alliance, a recognized political party, registered one, bona fide one, who are really serious in this game, in this crusade. And we tell them the reason why we're there, and that is to tell them that this year there would be a voter registration exercise. And it is really important. We talk about elections, voting, president. But what elects a president? What puts a president in the seat? It is that exercise, it is that card that you get. And in getting that card, there is a process, there is an exercise, there are procedures you follow. So we try to sensitize and enlighten them about the processes. I mean, there was a time you need an ID card to get a voter's registration card. But then IEC has went further to tell us this time, okay, it's not only an identity card, you can use a birth certificate. If you don't get a birth certificate, if you don't get a passport, if you don't get a national ID card, you can get an alcala attestation. A lot of people did not know that. And when you go, it's amazing. The first thing they will complain to you, you know, I lost my ID card. And I went to get an ID card. They say, because getting it is $450. Now, because I lost it, I'm getting another one, I need to pay $1,000. And as somebody who's struggling to get $50 to survive, you tell the person to go and pay $1,000 to get a national identity card to be able to obtain a voter's card. It's a joke. They won't do it. So you have a whole lot of them that one might be segmenting who will not acquire voter's card, thus they will not vote. So it's good to tell them that you don't only need an ID card, which is very important. As a national of the country, you need a national ID card to identify who you are. Exactly. But in the absence of that, that's not the only thing that can make you acquire a voter's card. There are other means, and these are the things that we highlight, we sensitize them, and they appreciate it. You see them tell, oh, really? You know, so now they will be worrying like they cannot. Before we talk to certain people, they've already made up their mind, I'm not bothering, because there is no way I'm going to spend $450 to get a national ID card, to get a voter's card. So I'm not even going to vote. I might campaign, I might support, you know, I might go out there with the fanfare, but I'm not going to vote because I'm not going to get a voter's card. But now they know that, oh, you know what, I can get a voter's card because maybe I have a birth certificate. Or even if I don't have a birth certificate, I can go and acquire an alcala's attestation. So it was really great that we did it. You know, we are still on it. We haven't finished. We need to go to CRR. We need to go to URL. So we still have a lot to cover. But gauging from what we have done, it's really, really welcome. It's good. And I think the IEC needs to pay us some money for doing part of their job.
The trouble is, can you frankly tell us that after sensitizing them on all these things, you didn't tell them, vote for CA in the next election?
Oh, I can authoritatively and frankly tell you that we don't tell people vote for CA. Okay. You know, we do clean politics, definitely. And all our politics is, you know what, just be sensitized, be aware. When you go there, choose right. Do not choose because somebody is your friend, somebody is your relative, on tribal lines, on family lines, but choose the person who can do the job. Good. That's what we tell people.
Now, while you were there, like you said, you saw how the people live, their condition of living, you know, and you look and watch as to various things that can be done to improve their livelihood. You made this very emotional video of an incident you witnessed, which I want to bring for listeners to, for viewers to see if our technicians are ready. You made this emotional video of an incident you witnessed between Queenala, I guess, and Sibito in Kabada. Let's have a listen and see what you have discovered there.
Oh boy.
Hello, hello, hello. I am not doing this to show off. I just bumped into a woman being carried on a donkey cart to Queenala. It's 9 kilometers from the village. And she gave birth on a donkey cart. I cannot show those pictures. I'm sorry, it breaks my heart. But these are the realities that I'm facing. And we think everything is okay. Everything is not okay. Everything is not okay. Let me tell you, everything is not okay. And something has to be done. Something has to be done. I am heartbroken. yet again. They were taking her 9 kilometers from the village to Quinala. Hello, hello, hello.
Right, Neneh, you were describing very emotionally what you have seen there. What were you talking about? What have you discovered? I saw you weeping, about a woman who was being taken to hospital to have her child delivered, and then it happened. It happened on a donkey cart or whatever. What was it seen like?
Okay, this has been like a few days ago, but listening to myself again, it's really getting me emotional again. Lamin, as a woman, I have a child, okay? I'm a mother. I have encountered a woman give birth in my car. That is in the Gambia here. I was just passing and saw somebody struggling to get a taxi. I stood, gave them a ride. Before we get to Serekunda, the lady got birth, gave birth in my car. But it's not still the same of being in a very remote village. The roads are so bad, and we were passing, just bump into somebody. We got to a village, and then doctor and others went to pray. You understand? So we were just hanging around. And as I was having conversation with some other guys that were sitting on the bantaba or whatever, ask the question, do you have a clinic here? Do you have schools? Do you have, other amenities? And then the guy was like, oh, well, we have something where women, there is a lady in the village that helps women to give birth. So basically, they just built a shed or whatever, a mud house. And then it was like, I can show you or whatever. I was like, okay, let's go. So we went there with another lady I was
This
with,
was
Fatou.
which village?
Say it again?
Which village?
Sibito, exactly.
Sibito, it's in central
So
here.
we walked down to the place, and we were going to look for this so-called clinic or health center or health facility. And then we just bumped into a lady being carried. Apparently, the lady was being taken to Quinala.
Quinala, yeah.
And according to them, it's 9 kilometers from their village. But then because of the timeliness, the lady was already due. So there was this guy that normally helps them in the village with clinical services or nurse or whatever, antenatal or whatever, was the one who came and volunteered to help the lady deliver. And then we just bumped into that. And I just imagined myself, because when I stood there, I was like, okay, oh my God, what are we going to do? Can we just, call our driver to, I was like, it's 9 kilometers away. And right now, the guy is like, there is no way, because he's already due. The baby is coming. So, it doesn't make sense to even try to send them all the way to Quina. So the guy volunteered to help exactly at the point in time. And then we were there and watched. I took pictures and here and there video, and the baby was born, and it's a baby girl. Such a beautiful baby girl. And I look at the lady after she gave birth, where she was lying. They were trying to clean the baby and do all those things. The woman was just there. No painkiller, no anesthetic, nothing, apparently, nothing being done to the woman. Okay. You could see how she was bleeding and blah, blah. You take cloth and all. I have gone through that, Lamin. I've seen it not once, not twice. And I ask myself, why? Am I better than her? Why is she under that situation, that condition, when I am in the Serekunda area? No matter how bad the clinic is or the hospital is, at least I get better attention than her. Look at her getting birth on a donkey cart in the forest, on the grass, with nothing, no help, with those old women. They're so helpless.
Wow. Well, that was quite emotional. I could see from
the video.
Oh,
my God.
But
I was trying to, I called a friend, that was when the video was taken. I called a friend, and I was like screaming at the point in time, honestly. Everybody was like, Neneh, buy no bull joy. I was like, well, how can you tell me bull joy when this is what I've witnessed?
But
why?
But in the end, both the baby and the mother were fine.
Well, I've called back. They're fine. The baby was fine and healthy, looks healthy. Yeah. The mother also was like in such pain, and you could see she was so tired.
Yeah, anything could have happened.
From that experience. But yet still you could see the face like, I just gave birth. And happy that she was looking at that baby. And when I called them, this morning also, she was so happy. And they're okay. So they're at the house, but again, what next? Here you will go to nurse, you have somebody check on you,
So
your pressure.
as a political party who wants to bring alternative policies and ideas to improve the condition of people of the Gambia, that certainly must have been a lesson that you've taken home.
Well, I just asked myself, what have we been doing as a country? 56 years of nationhood. We call it 56 years of independence. That is not independent. That woman is not independent. And it is not by, a choice, by her choice. It is the leaders that we put in power that have subjected her to that kind of a condition. So her rights, her freedom, her independence has been taken away from her because of selfishness and greed. That's what I've concluded on.
Mr. Gomez, well, this take politics out of it. Definitely, they discovered really a very interesting and very important incident that I can tell you is an everyday occurrence in the lives of the people in the rural areas. How touched are you, yourself about this story?
Yeah, well, thank you, Lamin. Thank you, Neneh. Thank you, listeners and viewers.
May I now call on the Honorable Member for Kiang Central to make his oral statement. Honorable Member, thank you. You can go ahead.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, please permit me to express my deepest frustration with the incident that occurred on Monday in the village of Sanyang, which has claimed the life of a young person. The incident was very unfortunate and called for practical efforts, particularly from the government, to ensure that the issue is investigated as quickly as possible and that such a thing never happens again. I wish to use this medium to call on the police through the Minister of Interior to launch.
First, as individuals, what is your part? What is the part that you play? What should be the part you should play? What is your responsibility? So that we don't make mistakes. Exactly. Because the idea was that we have a quantum of quality people in the room that day.
Exactly.
It was launched by every big person in the country. And then you have the same type of people everywhere else in the world doing the bidding of international bodies to do development. Here we are in this country still fumbling in terms of development. I think that's a wake-up call. That's a need for all of us to sit back. And I believe this is one way of doing it. Young people taking it upon themselves to come into the frame and do their part. I think that should be applauded.
Yeah.
And so I congratulate CA and having gone through all the process. The idea of sensitization, if it is not infringing on IEC law, I think it's okay. I think the caveat always is that if a political party, whatever political party does, of course, has a political implication and connotation. I mean, if CA goes out sensitizing, it will be disservice to CA, not to push in a card for themselves.
Of course.
I mean
that
is just natural. Probably
that's natural.
Probably that is why all the time there is that issue whether it should be by political parties and this. But yes, it is true. Such an effort, such a sensitization campaign cannot exclude political parties. I mean, because the idea is about extending this message to the people. There cannot be a better cohort or institution than the political parties to do that. This is a quantum that must be part of the equation. But you see, first of all, we have always faulted when this new dispensation came to power, that we have inherited so many bad laws. We didn't need to wait for constitution to change these bad laws. And this is why we are hamstringed. We are restricted in what we do. At the behest of the Second Republic, we all knew that these were bad laws. Why are they continuing until today? And what could have been easy, we understand all the bad laws, take them to the National Assembly and they change them. We have seen example, they have changed some. So we could have done that for the general good. This would have helped in this time of whether sensitization should be done by political parties or no, IEC should be the one to do it. It would have solved that. And so many, many other laws that are now impacting and restricting on the march forward. And I think this is the incident that Neneh witnessed, like you rightly said. These are incidences that are happening every day.
Commonplace.
And I think this is why political parties and people who come to the platform of advocacy must go out there and see real life, what is happening, so that you become a representative. If you don't, you cannot represent. You just keep talking, and that's one of the things that is happening. This generation of Facebook is about everybody can talk and become an expert on certain things when you don't even have the law. You just pick up buzzwords and check what is the trend in terms of talking or groupthink, and then you start talking. But this incident have put Neneh and those who witness this on a different platform. And this is what politics is all about. Understanding the heartbeat and trouble of the citizenry and standing for them. That is what politics is all about.
Wow, applaud is there for she and Neneh. We're sorry about that personal experience you have, but like I said, it's commonplace. This was between Sibito and Queen Ella. Nobody knows what was happening a little bit away from Jasapot or Collier or you know, Medina Kayav to Kayav. You know, Jirov to Buduk. It can happen anywhere. So we're sorry for your experience, but this good story is that the ugly incident all ended in you know, in a success story for both the mother and the child. And of course, kudos to those people who work on the ground there, helping
tirelessly to help.
They did a tremendous job. Well, let's move on to Sanyang incidents and a little background here. Last week, a gentleman called Jibril Sise was apparently stabbed to death when he was trying to prevent a robbery. And the robber, the suspect, happened to be a Senegalese national. Now the name is clear, since one Ghana C. When the incident happened, I think some mobs, well, let's say so citizens or natives of Sanyang helped in apprehending him and then, handing him over to the police. But apparently, the locals, the natives, did not even trust the local police much. And they went into a riot, burning properties belonging to Senegalese, most of them fishermen resident in Sanyang, and they also targeted the fish mill factory there and, you know, put it on fire. You know, you can see anger within the natives and the youths about what happened, and they alleged that, you know, incidents such as that have not been treated by the police seriously. Of course, the police had always said that the people took the law into their hands and they want the police to act unprofessionally like they themselves were doing, and the police cannot simply do that. The police have to follow due process. But the people are always impatient and always wanted the police to act, you know, in a vigilante way, just as they themselves were doing. So these are the situations, that's the situation that happened there. At the moment, the situation is returning to normalcy, but then there were very, very high tensions, almost xenophobia. I mean, the Senegalese business people there, most of them fishermen, were targeted. In fact, at the time of the incident, about 200 or so fishermen who were at sea at the time, they learned of the incident through telephones with their people. They could not come to Sanyang. They had to be diverted to Batokungu. And for the last 3, 4, 5 days, they were in Batokungu. In fact, the National Disaster Management and the Alcalo and other people in the village had to help them, shelter them, and feed them. So now the authorities are working on normalizing the situation. For example, getting the Senegalese to have the confidence to go back to their homes and back to their work is proving difficult. And there have been some arrests of the mob who took the law into their hands, according to the police, by burning the station and the fish mill factory. So this is the background to what happened. In my experience, because I lived in Burford, we have lived with Senegalese fishermen
Ghanaians.
from Ndar, Tengage, and Ngor in Dhaka area. Some from Ndar in St. Louis. But then it has always been peaceful. In fact, some have intermarried in communities like Burford, Tanje. Some have intermarried with the people. Now, what is the new source of problem between these fishermen and the communities? Is it the fish mill factories or what? This is what happened.
Well, I mean,
And what are the security implications?
first of all, it's a very unfortunate incident, and I hope and pray and wish that the security and the country at large is on top of this. But it's not, I don't want to say it's not surprising, because of course it's surprising. It's really a cause for concern and a cause for alarm. But you see, social problems like this will always come. It's because of the tenuous situation that we came from. The Second Republic had been very, very, very difficult a period of time in our history, and negative impact that has on all of us. And this is what we're carrying forward, to the extent that so many things have now become just a tip of the iceberg. It's just a powder cake. All it needs is just a match, and then there's an explosive situation. Somebody stabbing somebody, ending up in a police station being burned down, and the issue of mistrust between the community and security. So you could see the underlying problems, the underlying issues. And situations like this, and I didn't hear you talk about an investigation has been commissioned.
Well,
I think this is where...
The police said they are investigating.
Yeah, just in this week I had written something on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have seen over time, and unfortunate, that most of the time you hear investigation, you will either never see the report, the investigation may never even complete, or anybody tells you that yes, we have a concrete report with recommendations, and they have been followed through. And I think,
to the Attorney General's chambers,
yeah, so when you talk, no, it's not about Attorney General or prosecuting somebody. It is about understanding what happened. Because you cannot solve a problem if you don't understand what happened. So the rationale and that due process you mentioned is about understanding the root cause of what happened. You know, direct causes, indirect causes, root causes. If you understand this quantum, it becomes the prerogative of government, of the country, to follow through and make sure that, and that is how you solve this problem. If you push them under the carpet or try to take them in a way in which it is just satisfying certain issues, it will never go away. We've witnessed was it not?
It was Faraba.
Faraba,
yes.
You know, this has...
And then Gunjur with this...
and it is repeating. And look, there is a problem. The problem is, if you remember when we came towards the new dispensation,
yes.
The drop in illegal backway migration almost went zero.
Yeah.
It is not because the problem was solved.
Yes.
It is because they don't have any chance of going anywhere again.
Yes.
And it did not stop the migration. It did not stop the problem. Absolutely. It means people are coming from wherever they were coming from and converging within the confluence of Greater Banjul area. That is getting that bubble bigger and bigger. So these issues, and I'm not surprised also that you could see now these incidences of rise in crime, particularly heinous crime. These are things that are becoming new in the stabbing.
Murder.
And they like robbery and attack. You are in a vehicle with your money, you are attacked and then busted, and then the money, cars taken away from you. We've never heard about this.
Quite on Gambian, but then of course, people will always say, we will believe, we will blame foreigners, when actually these acts have been perpetrated by Gambians.
This is Gambian. This is happening right here. And like I said always, security is about the people. It must involve the people. We must get back to people. Because the overarching security anywhere be it internal security or external security, is all about safeguarding your national interest. The entity at the forefront of that national interest is the people and their well-being, their way of life, and this overarching desire to make it in life. That is what you're protecting. It is not just because you are in uniform, so you are security, and no. You have a responsibility, you have a job. And that is about safeguarding the national interest. If this is breaking down, then there is something that is going wrong.
But
and
now,
that needs to be addressed.
What do you think could be responsible for this tension now between the Senegalese, foreigners, Senegalese living there, and the people of Sanyang? Of course, it is triggered by the killing, I'm sure, of Jibril Cisse. But it looks like there's an underlying mistrust or xenophobic situation between the two communities. Could this be driven by economic interests? For example, okay, like I told you, for generations, these people have been recognized and appreciated as foreign fishermen who in fact integrated with the Gambian community. Why? What is the cause of the new tension?
I will draw your attention to at some point in South Africa, when similar incidences happened, they targeted Nigerians and running around. It was not because Nigerians were doing anything wrong. It was just because this dire situation in which they found themselves.
They blame foreigners for it.
Yeah. So you look around, your first target is your target.
Exactly.
And if they believe that, look, somebody was starved, why do you need to target any community for that matter?
Yes.
Any
That's
community
the
for
problem, yes.
So it is not that.
Yeah.
I am sure today, if you go there, those relationships that have been built over generations are still there and strong. So, but because of this mistrust, and for a long time, communities don't have that semblance of justice being given to them.
Yes.
I think this is all that is given. And then you have, within the period that we are, it is COVID, loss of jobs, lots of earnings for families, for individuals, compounded all this problem. So there is a desperate situation in which we are all living, particularly for communities who are just craving to eke out a living. Now, if we know those who fish here are mainly Senegalese, why should I be antagonistic or anti those sets of people? No, they are the people who bring food in. So it is not a hatred between communities and Senegalese or Ghanaians or anybody, no. It is just because they are being pushed towards this desperation and hopelessness. And I believe that is the root cause. Again, Lamin, security, like I said, is about national interest. You cannot just build security and make security reforms without looking at these underlying issues that affect the people. Because if you don't, no matter how much you reform and how much quality security you build, this other segment will always be restive, will always be troubling, will always be making trouble. And then your country, your security is not secure at all. This is the problem.
Now, why must they target fish mill factory? Of course, it's been established that the murder suspect, worked at the fish mill factory. But don't you think there is this general dislike for these fish factories along the coast? Because it's not only Sanyang. We saw problems in Gunjur, almost everywhere. The communities, the majority of the people who live don't like these fish mill factories. They always blame the village authorities and the government which give them license.
That is true.
Why would the youth target the fish mill factory if it is not also been perceived to be something that's either destroying their environment or taking away their economic
I think
potential?
I think it is all this put together. It is not just targeting the fish mill. Like I said before, they have been short-changed, they have been short-circuited for too long. You live in these coastal roads. There is so much resources that are being taken
away.
Fish, gravel and sand and whatever, and you desecrate their environment, and there is nothing for them to show for it. So this equations, these structures, this architecture must be changed. So that people will see. I would have thought that if you come to my home and found a farm, if you want to take anything, I have to give it to you. If you come to a community and there is a community resource, there must be something that, in fact, the major part should go back to the community.
So
and I think, I think this is the problem. That it is not targeting just the fish mill. They have, of course, there is this problem with the community and the fish mill company for the depletion, the degradation of the environment, etc., etc. All these things are there. So that is a problem. The other problem is the sand mining. You know, these are, so if you add all this together, you are escalating the problem that within the community every day without solution. And right there, you have all this architecture of government and authority there, and nothing is happening. So they turn over it. It is not justifiable. But the point is, it is about time we look into these root causes, try to do a concerted effort to solve them. And they are not unsolvable. We must just be committed to those solutions. This is the problem. Young people must be given tough love. You cannot continue to pamper them and believe that you're not going to get the result down the line. You must give them tough love. You must show them what is real, what is happening. That is what they need. The rest they can do because they have the energy, they have the innovation, they have the skills, it's there with them. So tell them the reality, tell them that they will eke out a living for themselves.
Now what do you make of this? Well, there was, let's say, accusations as to, okay, the authorities, some even in the National Assembly, accused the mobs or the youths of taking the law into their own hands, attacking the police station, and that they call for investigations as to what happened. But who do you blame for this? Government, some people accuse the government of not acting on the signals that were there since the beginning, which would have prevented this explosion of this kind of tension. They believe government really left it too late, to tackle these things. Couldn't that be valid?
I am not the type who just jump on accusing parties or be it government or people. I believe in structure. For me, the first inclination is that there must be an inquiry set up to find out what happened. Exactly. If you do, then you can find out who and what was amiss, what was wrong, and then we can point fingers. Not point fingers towards blaming, but point fingers towards resolving this problem forever. Exactly. That is what is critical. That is what is important.
All right, I was going to Neneh, but let's cross over to the National Assembly because at least a few National Assembly members have had their views on the Sanyang incident, and some actually condemned the violence. But then also they gave advice as to what should happen so that this kind of incidents would not happen again. So let's cross over to the National Assembly and have a listen to some of the National Assembly members on this side.
May I now call on the Honorable Member for Kiang Central to make his oral statement. Honorable Member, thank you. You can go ahead.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, please permit me to express my deepest frustration with the incident that occurred on Monday in the village of Sanyang, which has claimed the life of a young person. The incident was very unfortunate and called for practical efforts, particularly from the government, to ensure that the issue is investigated as quickly as possible and that such a thing never happens again. I wish to use this medium to call on the police through the Minister of Interior to launch investigations and reach to the very bottom of the matter. May I add that the outcome of the investigation must be made public so that people get to know the events and forces that led to such aggravated anger and destruction. Honorable Speaker, you might realize that most of the people involved in the incident are young people. This must take the attention and interest of the government, as young people are the cream of this nation. It is about time that the government stopped paying lip service to youth empowerment and committed itself to creating concrete opportunities for the youth so that they become useful members of the society. Honorable Speaker, unlawful killings such as the incident we have witnessed in Sanyang is becoming commonplace in the country. Just under 3 months, 3 young people were stabbed to death at Joko nightclub in Brikama, as if that was not scary enough. We have all witnessed the heinous and mysterious killings of individuals in Nyamina East. This incident, up till now, nothing concrete has come out of it from investigators. We must not let our country graduate into a jungle community. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, and to sum up, what happened in Sanyang must not continue. And the only way we cannot let it continue is to ensure that there is justice. When the root causes of the incident are adequately addressed, I am positive that such a thing would never happen again, be it in Sanyang or elsewhere in the country. Honorable Speaker, with that few remarks, I thank you very much for giving me the floor.
Very much, Honorable Member. I'll now open the floor for statements from honorable members. But as I said earlier on, the statement should not exceed 3 minutes, and total of 30 minutes will allow. Yeah. Sorry, Jara Central. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would also want to join the Honorable Member for Kiang Central in the feelings that he got when we had that sorrowful incident in Sanyang that leads to a loss of a life. Honorable Speaker, last night I saw on QTV the PRO for the police, the PRO of the police being interviewed about the incident, and what I heard him saying, it was definitely a justified reason that they are on course to find the root cause of the incident. But the only thing I have to say, Honorable Speaker, is that I am urging all Gambian youths, in no matter what problem you involve yourself or find yourself, not to take the law into your hands. We have seen so many incidents happening in the country. Sometimes lives are lost just due to certain negligence of knowing the law or respecting the cause of the law. So in so doing, Honorable Speaker, in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say here is that I'm urging all the citizens of the Gambia, particularly the youths who are mostly involved in these crimes, not to take the law into their own hands. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very much. Serekunda, 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The member wishes for us to focus attention on a happening that is of exceptional consideration and concern by the people at large. Life is the most precious thing that a person possesses. So in that regard, when life is lost, not only our nation but the whole world should be concerned. And that is what this assembly should be concerned with. And I believe the Standing Committee on Constitution and Human Rights should take interest in this in order to know exactly what is happening and what has happened. We should not presume, because there's always presumption of innocence when you deal with the issue of crime. But essentially, we should take interest, because it went beyond the issue of an individual to deal with a community, to deal with resources, to deal with property, to deal with lives. So in that regard, we should try to find out what actually happened, why it was enlarged to such a level, and what we can do to address the problem at the root rather than just placate it. It is important that we show real grief for the life that is lost, but we must also be able to strengthen our system of crime prevention and a system of justice so that no one will feel aggrieved either because of the miscarriage of justice at any level. So this is happening, and our role now is to look at it and see how we can prevent recurrence. Thank you.
Welcome back, Mr. Gomez and Neneh. Let's go straight to Neneh. We just had from the National Assembly, we had contributions from the Bakari Kamara of Kiang Central. You were in his constituency. That incident actually happened in his constituency. We had another National Assembly member. Now, just now, we had Honorable Halifa Saleh of Serekunda. You had them. I mean, there is a consensus that there is a need to investigate what exactly happened. And we should not presume anything. We should find out the causes of the problem, of course, because life is lost, and there is now great tension between people who used to live together. What are your reflections?
Well, you know, just listening to Halifa, and of course, Uncle Sheriff said the same thing before we even listened to that video there, that, you know, an investigation should be done to really establish what had happened, who, how, you know, and the way forward, instead of just assume and speculate or whatever. But in the absence of that, an incident had happened. And again, looking at the whole thing, you would see that it is not an isolated incident. This is the reaction of the youth out there. It's a reaction that happened from a lot of things being bottled up. A lot of issues they've been going, encountering. I mean, right now, I think, is it in Gunjur or Sanyang, they have how many court cases, going on?
Gunjur,
exactly. They have so many issues in terms of environmental issues with the fish meal factory, whatsoever, and it's been going on. And again, we've seen videos, incidences that they're so frustrated. They've been crying, I think, on top of their lungs, like, help, help, help. And of course, some people think they're crazy. Some people think they're just boys who are jobless, that are making noise and should not be, considered or should be ignored. So at the end of the day, when an incident happens and it gives them any iota of chance for them to protest or manifest their frustration, this is what we see. Yeah. Uncle Sheriff has said earlier on, it is, I think they've been pushed, their frustrations and pushed towards frustration and desperation. Yeah. And that's what we see. Exactly, hopelessness. At the end of the day, I am not justifying their actions. Violence, it's kind of should not be tolerated or condoned in any civilized country. And then again, yes, the law should not be taken into people's hands. When you have issues, there are places you go and complain, and your issues should be addressed. But then again, they will tell you, okay, we will not go to the police station. We will take care of ourselves because we've been going to the police station and nothing comes out of it. And there are evidences of such instances. So at the end of the day, it puts everybody in a funny position. It puts people in a situation that you have to think, okay, who do you blame? Because we shouldn't have been asking the question who to blame. We should have been able to see who to blame and blame that person right away and hold that person to account. But people are found in a situation, okay, who do we blame? The youth Okay, if you want to blame the youth, they tell you what their issues are, and give you timelines. You're like, oh well, okay, I can say anything else. Now you go to the law enforcement people, you talk to them, and then they also give you a timeline. You're like, okay, where do I stand? But evidences are there. So at the end of the day, we need to migrate from this attitude of being reactionary, because that's what I see. Nothing gets done, but when a situation arises, then you see action. And then at the end of the day, it's too late but then I want to emphasize, yes, it's a Senegalese man that was stealing or whatever, that stabbed a Gambian gentleman, and unfortunately the person died. It is rather unfortunate. Life is precious, like Khalifa puts it. Nobody has a right to take anybody's life because you didn't create that life. But at the end of the day, what I want to plead to Gambian, because it's one single Senegalese, let's not generalize and say Senegalese. To the extent that we went out there and attacked Senegalese, displaced a lot of them. Some of them has been here for decades. They made, built their businesses from ground zero. Now just all of a sudden, one day, all that has been just burnt down or shuttered. It's unfair to them, and I don't think anything can justify that. So at the end of the day, let's not try to even encourage this Senegalese. This is not an issue of Senegal and Gambia. This is an issue of Mr. C and Jibril, two different individuals. So let's tackle the situation, the incident on that level, not make it a national thing, Senegalese, Gambian. Because again, how can we take Senegal out of Gambia? How can we take Gambia out of Senegal? My mom is Jola, my dad is Manjago. It's like you tell me, let's squeeze the Manjago blood out of you, or let's squeeze the Jola blood out of you. It is almost impossible. So let's really, really stop that. These are countries that have been coexisting for so long, and these two individuals, how the population of Senegal is how many million? The population of Gambia, how many million? So why do we have to reduce ourselves to an incident that happened between two individuals? Yes, it's rather unfortunate a life has been lost. Nobody can buy that. Nobody can pay that. But it's bigger than that. It's bigger than those two individuals.
To put this subject to rest now, let's go back to expert in the House on security matters. What do you think, Honorable, should be the solution, especially in terms of security implications? That is, what should the government do to make sure that these things does not generate into further and greater xenophobia against Senegalese or any other foreigner for that matter?
I hope it will not, and that is why I like the point Neneh concluded with, amplifying the idea, the issue that this is not about Senegal or Gambia or even within the community, Senegalese and
it could have been a Gambian and again a Gambian.
It could have been. It could have been, and the fact that they have lived for generations, there is no such problems there. So it is best we don't look at this, and this is an appeal also to the media fraternity. It is not Senegalese Gambian thing. It is a communal problem. That is how it should be seen. Of course, there are frustration, and I will, to answer your question, I'll refer back to the issue of the pointers to mistrust to security, and to say that over time, I am now becoming. The fact that we have now started these reforms on security is very, very important. That this idea about mistrust, it is not just the police, it is the security setup, apparatus, architecture in general in the country, vis-a-vis the security and the general populace. There is a big, huge mistrust in them, and this is what we should breach. And that is why the idea of security sector reform is being floated, and this is what is happening now. But before diluted more on that, these incidences are not isolated. I want to harp on this. The Senegalese incident of recent, of these weeks, is a pointer. The issues that came up, you will want to tend to believe may not necessarily have anything to do with the vandalism and the destructions of properties and life. So there are always those underlying causes. There is just a tinderbox that is just requiring a matchstick, and then it explodes. This is the problem. But I think moving forward, this is why I have always said in my utterances, in my interviews, in the, with the media, that we must take security sector reform urgent and serious. That is important.
Absolutely.
And over time, we are within that frame that we are now accelerating. I have seen and I've observed this, that it's being accelerated.
Yeah.
We have come from national security policies, the security sector reform strategies. We have now going towards security sectors. Be the army, we have now started developing their own policies.
Yeah.
The police are in the poised to do one also.
Yeah.
And this is a trend that must be fast-tracked, that must be pushed forward.
Okay.
The government and the people must be committed to this. Because if we do, it is that first step towards bridging this gap of mistrust. The idea must be that security service must be seen, heard, and believed by the populace, that they are there for them and they are working for them. There is nowhere in the world where security has been given all the resources it has been given to the extent that they become bigger than the people that they serve. That should not be.
Absolutely.
But
Well,
let me just quickly add on that. I think at the end of the day, you've mentioned security reform. You know, this is what the 50th year, and then that's when all these things you're mentioning are being done.
Yeah.
I think that should have been the first and foremost
Yeah.
thing that should have been started since the inception of this current administration. So that tells us that they don't take it seriously.
well,
In
there
as
were,
much as it doesn't affect-
to be frank, there were efforts, there were
Why should
collaborations,
it wouldn't be
international.
effort? The things that they wanted to get done and implement were done, fought with, and right away, and they're riding on it.
Yeah.
But then, if it did it, all I'm saying is it wasn't taken seriously. You understand? It was trivialized, and right now they see the need for it. And like Uncle Shiri said, they're rushing it. Why should you rush it? It's important. Do it on time, at the right time. Everything has a time and place. So you should have started it at the right time. And anything that they should have done, this current government, was security sector reform, and which they failed to do. So that just tells people,
Finally,
like if you have a like mind, you will know that this is not a serious government. Because if you joke with your security, you joke with everything else. And that's the reason you bring Senegalese to guard our president. Economic are still in the country. Why don't you do the reform from the onset? It's just the unseriousness and lack of prioritizing.
Of course, you expect the politician in her.
Well, no, this is not even political.
I understand
this
perfectly.
Is not on a political. This is not on partisan level.
But she made, I know, non-partisan.
It's not partisan
Okay,
level.
I
This
agree,
is,
non-partisan.
as a concerned citizen here.
I understand perfectly. But then, she mentioned something. I mean, there were issues as to, and arguments among the citizens as to whether, in fact, we need economic. But the incidents such as Gunjur, Faraba, and other things, absolutely are playing into the hands of government, critics or proponents who's, actually doing the job for the government in their quest to get economic to stay here for much longer. They can cite these incidents as, cases of insecurity. So don't you think these flashes of insecurity incidents are actually helping the government's argument that perhaps we need economic here? On the other hand, she is free, at liberty, to blame the same government for dilly-dallying on the implementation of security reforms. So how do you contrast the two?
Well, that's probably Neneh's prerogative. He has a lot of hats to wear in that regard. Yes, probably there's some portion of blame for government over time, because if you look at it from the time span and the urgency with which this situation should have been dealt with, whatever their constraints were, whatever their constraint, people will only judge on what they perceive and what they see based on the timelines that they have. Over time, they are emerging from that, dropping the ball, and now giving it a momentum. And that was why I related all the issues that have been done so far and are being projected to be done in terms of security reform. And I think that is kudos to government also.
Fantastic.
But, Lamin, the issue of economic, the scenario you painted, I think if that was the case, Senegal will have 1,010 economic all the time in their country. Because every day there's an incident. But my point is, economic came here for a reason, and I think there is no doubt to any Gambian that we welcome them.
Yes, they were.
That we applauded them.
Absolutely.
That we cannot thank them enough for the job that they have done in helping us in those difficult moments.
Exactly.
But over time, and I always said, even in the piece I wrote just recently, anywhere else. These things impact on sovereignty, these impact on self-esteem, national self-esteem, that you have foreign troops in your country prolonged as forever. It will always bring in those issues. And this is why when you have them, when you want to call them, you must have an exit plan immediately put in forward. You understand? If you do that, then you implement that so that as quick as possible, once their job is finished, they go back. There is nothing that is happening here that cannot be solved by this
internally.
And I don't think if it was economic, that would have been the solution. These things would not have happened in the first place because they're here.
Absolutely.
So it is not the solution. Over time, it is not the solution. We must continue to build and reform our security quick as possible so that we don't have the need to have foreign boats in our country.
Fantastic. Honorable Sirif Gomez there, our security expert in the studio. Now, very quickly, because we are going to sports after 5 minutes of addressing this other topic. Back in the National Assembly, there was this debate about repealing the skin bleaching law. Background, yes, the law was in fact came in the form of a decree at the time of the AFPRC military junta, and it banned the importation or usage of materials that are categorized as skin bleaching, etc. It was a controversy, but admittedly, even the government of the day could not effectively enforce the role, even though President Jammeh had often been publicly criticizing or castigating people she believed, or mostly women, he believed are bleaching their skin. Even though some people also criticize himself for preferring, him and others said, well, it's just a joke, but I don't mean it. But people always said it's difficult to enforce this skin bleach law. The minister was heard in the National Assembly saying, well, the problem is we don't know how to enforce this law because the police stations will be flooded with people, the courts will have a lot of cases. So according to the minister, the best thing is to repeal it. But then, of course, we had other National Assembly members saying, when you do it, you are encouraging prostitution, immorality, and there are health problems associated also with skin bleaching. So now, very quickly, gentleman and lady, what are your thoughts on this? Should the law be repealed, which means everybody can import and use skin bleaching materials publicly without any rebuke or reprimand or anything, or should it be maintained as illegal? Let's start with the woman in the house. But it's mostly women who are associated with skin bleaching. I saw some people, some men too, mostly foreigners, I wouldn't name the country, also are very, they're very keen on bleaching their skin. But let's start with the woman.
Okay, for me, honestly, Lamin, when I was listening to the MPs, the first thing I was like, okay, I think the MPs should be talking about, they all agreed it was a decree. It was not a law that has gone through the right channels or process to be put in a law box, okay? So at the end of the day, you're not talking about the legality of the law that you are discussing about, but talking about implementation and enforcement. For me, it was really, You mean
it should have been scrapped? It was unlawful in the first place.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, we all know Jammeh. Jammeh does things that really will give him weight, that will really entrench him, that serves, his interest. It wasn't the interest of the populace or the interest of the people that do bleaching or are using the cream. It was just things that he was doing, to really, really boost his ego and all that. But that aside, at the end of the day, I thought, okay, we have our National Assembly. It would have been simple. Come there, presentable, and say, okay, it was put in there illegally. It did not go through the right process or whatever, and kick it to the bin where it belongs. But you sit there and wasted a whole day. It has to go through first reading, second reading, I don't know, up to 7th reading or whatever it may be, okay? Waste people's times, energy, we're paying you money to discuss skin bleaching bill. And again, what disgusted me was when I listened to the MP's arguments, like, seriously? I said, are you all serious? Okay, why, in the first place, why skin bleaching? Why do you make it a topic and want to justify justify that it has to be there, and then, you know, the minister needs to enforce it, enforce the law that it is against, you know, the laws of the Gambia. One, the minister is saying, okay, even if we leave it there, we cannot enforce it. You know what I mean? I mean, the
minister wants to scrap it. So the minister
wants to scrap it because they believe even if the law is left there, they cannot enforce.
Yeah, because maybe as one parliamentarian said, the wives of diplomats and even ministers' wives and could all be guilty of it.
For me, the bottom line is who is guilty and who is not guilty. It's besides the point. At the end of the day, if they want to implement or enforce, they would. We have the Public Act.
But how can they do it?
No, we have the Public Act bill here, which was put by Jammeh. We all sit here initially campaigning and say it will be repealed, it's not a good law.
Still there.
We need to take it out. But right now, it's still there as we speak, and they're enforcing it. When people go out there and protest, they're arrested, they're taken to jail, they're tried.
And charge them for unlawful assembly.
Exactly. And for example, a good example here is the 3 years job now. They went out to protest peacefully, and then but then they are taking them to court using the Public Act bill here. So for me, the minister really does not have good reason to say, because wherever they want to enforce, they enforce Lamin. So that's not a good reason. Give us another justification that you want it repealed. Understand? And we all know the reasons behind it. It's all interest based. Okay, it's all politics. We are not like dumb people. We are smart, intelligent people. Whatever they bring, we can read it between the line. We go 10 steps ahead of them. That's part of the minister. Now coming back to the MPs, why skin bleaching? Okay, you're talking about some people, or the health reason or whatever. Skin bleaching, okay? When I buy my product and use it, it affects me if there's any harm to it. Okay, it doesn't affect anybody else. It's me and me alone.
Yeah, but the government has a role to protect the people.
Okay, hang on, hold on.
Government has that role.
Okay, hold on. But if we're talking about the government having a role to protect, there are so many things the government should protect that has affect the lives and livelihoods of a generation, not a single person. Because it doesn't affect my child, my mother, my son. Let's talk about smoking here. You understand?
But it's been banned in public places.
Okay, why don't they enforce that law? Why don't they enforce it? The people, it is banned, but then you go to ministers' offices, they're smoking right in front of you. The MPs themselves, it is banned in public places, but they smoke in parliament there. You go, everywhere is smelling smoke. In their canteen, in their chambers, or whatever. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the government places, not even public places. It's my office, I have a right to smoke there. You go in the airport, people are smoking, and nobody says anything to them. So those are the laws that we need to spend our energy and resources to enforce and not talk about skin bleaching. You understand? Let's talk about alcohol. You know what I mean? During Ramadan, when the bars, they don't sell. They don't sell. There's no business. And you know what? The country is claimed to be 95% Muslim. So just tell me, what does that mean? So let's enforce those laws and say, okay, no alcohol. At the end of the day, why even say women should not believe? And then this most disgusting thing, one MP was saying, it promotes prostitution.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
Like, hello, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Okay, why do they even talk about prostitution? Why talk about prostitution is given and taken? Yeah. There is a receiver, there is a giver, there is a receiver. Why you talk about the giver and not talk about the receiver? When the prostitute goes, who and who?
Where?
It's not a lady and a lady.
I expect
so, let's talk about the real issues.
Okay.
What I see happen here, when they go to parliament, they talk about everything but the issues. Okay? And that's what they need to talk about. At this point in time, election year, there's so many things that the parliament should be rushing and tabling and talking about and repealing. There's so many, 52 times that the constitution has been amended. You want to tell me there is nothing else, there is no more important thing than you want to table to repeal than a skin breaching bill? Are we a serious country?
Well, I expect her to be as combative as ever on this topic too. Sheriff, maybe you can provide a bova.
Lamin, thank you.
Finally, what are your thoughts on that?
Thank you very much. Lamin, Manjagos, we're passionate.
They always fight to the end.
We're passionate about anything that we're in about. Thank you, Neneh, for that. I think first I will commend my take is that this is a repeal the act bill that was being tabled. If that is the case, I think we need to commend the minister for bringing the bill forward for repeal.
Okay, for repealing.
For me, maybe the citing of an example of why it should be repealed, that's where you will have divergence of views. I am not sure whether the excuse that police stations will be flooded, that's a good idea. For me,
courts and other
for me
things,
probably, for me what I will first say, it is a bad law, and part of those bad laws that should have been taken away a long time ago. There are so many other things that could be looked into, and that are more detrimental to the health. And Neneh has cited one of them, cardinal, smoking. Smoking kills, that's what the Surgeon General says.
Course.
And that is health. This idea that skin bleaching for health reason, there is not that concrete evidence that warrant any skin bleaching to be labeled as kills. It doesn't. It is cigarette. And until today, we are smoking in this country.
And then there's supposed to be a public ban on public smoking.
So these are all problems. The second part is that these issues are two views. One is about legality, the other is about morality. So where is the debate? Is it about legality or morality? And again, I'll cite to Neneh. She had brought in so many good issues. We are 95% Muslims.
Yes.
Drinking is immoral.
Exactly.
Is condemned, is haram.
Yes.
But it is happening.
Absolutely.
So many other vices are happening. So the argument is not about that. It is about reflecting on, again, about these risk causes. Why are women pushed towards this level? This is the idea.
I see.
This is the idea. We must look at it from that angle and decrease it. Remove these lenses of this Marco world that we live, that men pushing forward agendas that it is not helpful to anybody or society for that matter.
Well, Honorable Sir.
But let me tell you, Lamin. You see, the thing is, when you have an assembly that is dominated by men, and they talk about issues that dominantly affect women, this is what you see. I did not expect any better from them. You understand? So that's why women need to know we need to be represented so that our issues can be handled and tackled about ourselves, and then because we can relate better. Why should a man even talk about skin bleaching? Does he have an experience in it? Does he do it? You know, how does he know how it affects women?
Maybe.
So at the end of the day,
some men buy it for a woman. So they.
But the bottom line is, we really need to
stop buying it. Just stop buying
exactly.
it.
Stop buying it. As simple as that. But then don't condemn
with
somebody else. We really need to promote women and not really castigate them, demote them, demoralize them. That's what we see in this country. Look at how passionately they were discussing about it.
Absolutely.
Because it doesn't affect them. They don't have any interest in it or whatever. And then they're talking about it. You know what I mean? I would want them to go in the assembly if they really care about us. Condom is given free, but sanitary pads, we buy them. Go there and say, okay, we want to put a law in this country that, since condom is free, sanitary pads should be free. Because wearing a condom is a choice.
Wow.
But having a period, it's not a choice.
I introduced this topic, but I got more than I bargained for.
Yeah, it's not a choice. So why are we put in that situation? So those are the things that I expect these parliamentarians to go out there and fight for us if they really care about our cause, if they care our plight, not sit there and debate passionately, even quoting the Quran. You know what has the Quran got to do with skin bleaching and all that thing? And at the end of the day, this is a parliament for everybody. It's not a parliament for Christian, Muslim, Hindus, Buddhists, Ahmadiyya. It's a parliament for Gambians. So talk about issues that affect Gambians. Don't bring religious issues there. It is just not right. And for me, it's disgraceful. It's shameful. And for our parliamentarians to act that way, like seriously, let's talk about real issues.
Lamin, I think we should, that was why I bring this dichotomy. It is legal or about morality. Morality starts with us. Let's start from us, because these users of skin bleaching are not coming from the skies or from the forest. They are living in all our own homes and our compounds. If you could sit with that person right there in front of you at home and talk to her about these issues, probably it will do much more better than enacting a law to come on. It's a bad law, we all know that. And I think that's where we should start.
Fantastic. The Honorable Sheriff Gomez, thank you very much. And of course, Neneh Freeda Gomez from CA, passionate about so many issues in the studio. Now, we will of course take leave of you, gentleman and lady. Thank you very much for your sterling contributions. We will go to talk about football now, because like I said, the Gambia may just well be on the course to qualify for her first appearance in the African Nations Cup. That is depending on what we do in the 2 matches that are coming in the next couple of days. We will go for a break with views that I must say Neneh detests very much from the National Assembly about this skin bleaching. So if our technicians can go back to Parliament and give us the parliamentary discussion on skill bleaching as we usher in our next batch of panelists on Gambian football. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And by the way, your board comments. So. Coincidence or? It is. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you to all listeners and viewers too. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You're always
once again.
Welcome. You're always welcome.
Honorable Speaker, we are already told that this is law which has been here for many, many, many years, but it could not be implemented. That is what we are told. Law that cannot be implemented. And if you want to implement it, you have to do it selectively. And if you do it selectively, you are going to do it in a discriminatory manner. And that's what we don't want. We don't want law that will punish others and leave others. And that is the objective of this amendment, this repeal. We want to repeal it because we cannot implement it. We don't want to discriminate others. That is it. The root cause, in our first debate, I emphasized that somebody was talking about marijuana. Yes? But there is a law that prohibits production of marijuana, farming of marijuana, processing marijuana, possessing marijuana, and distributing marijuana. Where is the law that stops production of bleaching products, importing bleaching products, possessing building products? Why are those laws? So once all those laws are not there, you just want to punish the person who uses the product. That is not fair. Because that person is a victim. If there is no bleaching product in the market, it's not anywhere being produced in this country or imported to the country, these victims may be saved from the product. But that is not the case. So this is why we are saying, since it cannot be, the government that is bringing this here is saying they cannot stop the importation. They don't want to stop the importation. They don't want to stop the production or the sale of it. So they cannot stop the usage of it. So poor women who, by virtue of what they hear from their men, and this is, in fact, I want to use the word hypocrite. Because, this is my position.
Double standard.
Or double standard. Let me use double standard. It is us men who should change our behavior. It is us men who tell the women that being white or fair is what is beautiful. Musukoyo, Sasaboro. It's not the women. The women feel the way they are. But when you bring certain standards to them and encourage them to do it, in fact, it is some of these men who are buying these products for these women to use it. Yes, some of the men are using their money, giving it to women, buying it, and asking them to use it. So this is the situation. Do we need to criminalize such a thing? That is the issue. Do we need to criminalize such a thing? The state has allowed the importation. Do we need to criminalize it? If we criminalize it, are we fair to those who are using it, those innocents? Or should we use media? Should we use moral methods to educate them, enlighten them, so that they know that this is harmful to them? That is the issue we are being faced. So to go into religion and all that, I don't think that's why we are here. And if you ask the question whether white people do whiten their skin, I said yes.
Kerr, Fatou, well, that's some of the comments and discussions in the National Assembly about the skin bleaching repeal bill brought by the Minister for Justice, that is Dawda Jallow, who wanted the bill repealed, not least because it's going to be very difficult to enforce it. He spoke about police stations and courts or whatever, chaotic, that's how he described it, if one was to enforce, you know, the skin bleaching rule. So he wants it very badly repealed. So you had a discussion there from the National Assembly, and before them, our panelists, the Honorable Sheriff Gomez and Neneh Freeda Gomez of CA. Now we, like I said at the beginning, as you could see from my outfit, there's a bit of sporting in it today. Like I said, the Gambia may well be on course to qualify for her maiden African Nations Cup. This is because we are sitting in front or at the top of Group D, from which the top two should qualify. We share the same point, 7 points with Gabon, but we lead on goal difference. We're going into two crucial matches. One in Banjul against Angola on March 25th, it's about 6 days' time or so. And then we will be flying straight to Kinshasa on the 29th March to play Democratic Republic of Congo. So, we have 6 points to pursue. But, well, when we come to the permutations, we'll tell you whether actually how realistic are our chances. And they are really, we, being at the top of the table, we can safely say, or we have reason to believe that this time, we either come first or second to qualify for Cameroon 2021. It's going to be 2022 now. Yeah. In it. So, I have two gentlemen in the studio. Sadibou Kamaso is an executive member of the Gambia Football Federation, responsible for finance and others. He'll be working very hard on the logistics, and I guess you may be advanced party to Congo or perhaps you know, the preparations here for the Angola match. Musa Sise, president of the Sports Journalists Association, is also a member of the Events Management Committee of the GFF. So the two of us, or the three of us, will take this 45 minutes or 30 to look at what is at stake. Because we may have come close in the past, but I want to believe, gentlemen, that this is a time when we could say we are very close to qualifying for the Nations Cup. But all the same, we must be realistic. We have still a lot of job to do in these two matches. So let me go to you, Sadibou. What are the preparations so far?
Thanks for the invitation, Lamin. First of all, let me clarify, I'm not responsible for finances at the Federation.
But you are an executive member of the GFF.
Yes.
Why don't you want the finance? You can give it to me.
I wish I was, you know. I serve as a member of the Finance Committee, which I'm Vice Chair.
Oh, well, there you go.
But, you know, the Finance Committee makes recommendations, and the executive approves or otherwise.
Okay.
You know, there's somebody responsible for finances, which is the first Vice President, Mr. Bakari K. Jame.
Okay.
You know, so if I sit here and say I'm responsible for finances,
maybe he will
I have
say,
some bollocking
you
after.
You are shopping his powers. But all the same, you are an
he's my
executive
boss.
member, so.
Definitely. Thank you. I mean, yes. I must say the GFF has put in a lot of time and effort into getting the ground set for these two matches, because obviously everyone knows the position we are at the moment is an enviable position. History and experience has shown that we have not been in such a position since, you know, the inception of the AFCON qualifiers. You know, I mean, with 2 games to go and the Gambia sitting at, first position of a group. This has never happened. Normally, we're in 3rd or 4th position, just playing the final games just to ensure that, we meet our obligations and then pack our bags and leave. So obviously the position we are at the moment is enviable. The GFF with the Ministry of Youth and Sports, of course, the National Sports Council has done a lot of work to ensure that everything is done to ensure the players come, play well, go to Kinshasa and get the job done. Because our destiny is in our own hands. We do not have to rely on any other person. Obviously, there are different things you could look at to say, if this happens, we qualify, if that happens. But for me, I say our destiny is in our own hands. Let us win against Angola, win against DRC, or draw against DRC. We need 4 points. Even a point could make us qualify depending on other results. But our destiny is in our own hands, and we must not relent. This was the same thing that happened to us some time back when we had that game in Senegal with the fighting. Everybody thought we had qualified.
That was in fact, progression to another stage of the qualifiers. Yes. It was important because when we knocked Senegal out, that was the end of it.
Exactly.
We could not go because Togo, I believe, was a goal or so above us. But all the same, we knocked Senegal out and destroyed their ambition to go to the World Cup because it was a joint qualifier. Exactly. That was what made that story very big. Exactly. But this time, like you said, there's every reason to believe that sitting at the top of the group with 2 matches to go, and in a group where the top 2 should go, we have reason to believe that we either take first or second. Like you said, of course, everything is in our hands now. It is for us to win or draw at least 4 points and be in pole position. But let's look at the logistics now, because last time this fixture was too tight between us and Gabon, and the GFF and the government had to put up a charter flight. Are we going to have a similar arrangement?
It is the same, and we have to commend the Ministry of Youth and Sports through the Honorable Minister Bakari Baji for ensuring that this thing happens. It was the same thing that had happened during the Gambia-Gabon game.
Yeah.
They came in, and they made sure everything went well, and it's the same thing that is happening again. Flights are being chartered. Now, FIFA has this rule now. If a player is leaving the country that they're playing in, and when they return, they have to go through quarantine for 5 days, the team has the option not to let the player go.
Yeah.
So we're facing those issues.
We'll come to that.
I'm saying, so some of these things, even getting this charter flight is helping to convince some of these clubs to show them that we have taken this so seriously, and these players are not going to mingle with other passengers and things like that. So the government has secured a charter flight that will fly the boys from Brussels on the 22nd to Banjul. Then from Banjul, after the game, fly them to Kinshasa, play the game, then from Kinshasa, fly them back to Banjul, then from Banjul again, fly them back to Brussels. Okay. So already government has secured that through the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and there's a charter flight. I can confirm there's a charter flight that is going to fly the boys.
Okay, let's talk about the game in Banjul, Musa. You are a member of the events management committee. Well, we know, of course, the international regulations on matches now is there should be in closed doors, etc. This is a calf match, like you said, like we all said here. So, what are the preparations on the ground as far as the Angola match, which is a home match, is concerned?
I mean, thank you, Cham. These are very crucial moments, and of course, I mean, as Sadibu mentioned, the importance of these games. These 2 matches cannot be really overemphasized. One, that is why, as a public, as representative of the public, here today, I think we might be speaking in different terms. We might be speaking as journalists, fans,
you know one
administrators.
Thing about him. One thing about him, when it comes to Gambia, he put his journalistic independence away.
He's in it all the way.
So patriotic. But I've always warned him, Musa, don't give people overconfidence.
Musa is a go-getter. Musa always wants success.
Let's go ahead.
That's it. So this is why today I'm putting it on the onset. We might speak as critics, fans, administrators, and journalists. So anyway we come, you know that at least we are in
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's to start with. As the events management committee member, I think, I mean, these are the most difficult of matches we're trying to put together. Not because that the fans are not coming in. We know that when the fans comes in, even difficult because dealing with that is a problem of its own. But having to deal with an empty stadium, can you imagine? Football without fans is something else completely. But that's what we have to administer. That is what the protocol dictates from CAF, because their competition, we must go by what they advise us to do. That is that, as is an open secret, that the game is now being played behind closed doors. No spectators are wanted. Only the accredited journalists who are supposed to be covering, to disseminate, to show, at least publicize these games, are the ones. Of course, football house staff are workers. They might be coming in. We still have the securities in there who had to maintain a semblance of security in case of anything. And that goes with the medics and a few other people. These are the only people we are expecting in the stadium. And
you mentioned local media. Are there arrangements for it to be shown or broadcast on television? Because the CAF match, like you said, they have control.
Yeah, they have the control. It's their match. But I mean, unfortunately, we got a communique yesterday from the GS, that's the Secretary General at Football House, to suggest that CAF are not sending a crew to cover the game. So that gives an opening for the national broadcaster to beam and screen this match to the Gambian populace, and that is just on terrestrial, not on satellite. Yeah. So this we have arranged already with the JRTS to screen this match. This will give the public at least an avenue to look at what's happening at the Independence Stadium and to support the guys to make sure that, at least as we all want, the 3 points to be secured in here early.
And when is the match kicking?
The match is 4 p.m. scheduled. According to the 4 p.m. on Thursday, 25th. So everything will be set in place much earlier than that. So at least we think everybody should.
Any news about the arrival of Angola? Because of course this takes us back to Gabon. Who were not very transparent in their.
I think Sadio is in a better position, because some of these things were, like the Gabon one was really an eye-opener for I think members of the Federation, because the communique was absolutely non-existent between the two. For whatever reason, I don't know. But I think Sadio was in a better position to advise or to talk about,
Sadio, any news
all I can tell is I've seen the General Secretary of the Gambia Football Federation writing to the Angolan Federation to ask them to provide him details with their arrival time and date. I've not seen any communication from Angola actually to say we are coming and so on so date. But normally with the rules, they're supposed to be here latest Wednesday morning. It should be normally, because normally they should have been here Tuesday. Because there's a pre-match meeting on Wednesday and they have to do their training. So coming on Wednesday and going through all that trouble,
avoiding
and do we effectively communicate to them about the COVID protocols in Banjul?
Of course, all of that is done through CAF.
Oh, okay.
Because CAF sent in a communique to find out what are the COVID, protocols in the Gambia. I think this was done with every member association of CAF, so that they can send these things to CAF, and then CAF would use this in order to determine if there's any, whatever malpractice is being done. So all the MAs, I believe, have sent in theirs. We have sent ours to CAF to tell them these are our COVID protocols. So obviously we all know, because even with the Congo game, we've been told that we have to do COVID test
in Banjul or even in Kinshasa.
Even when we get to Kinshasa, irrespective of whatever test results we come with.
Okay.
And each the COVID test will cost us $45, and we have to pay
each person.
Yes, and we have to pay $55 to leave Congo, again, airport tax. And we also have to pay $300 per person as visa fees. So already we have all this information. So it's like $400 per person. For
in Africa, we are still and we 56 years after independence, we still have to pay visa and other transfer.
For even African countries.
But we gave them a visa free. We gave them visa free when they came in. We wrote to the immigration and they were cleared to come in.
That's the Gambia.
Free. And that's what they had. So we're trying to use that, but what they're telling us is that the immigration rules, everybody has to pay $300 as visa fees, $45 for COVID, and $55. We're communicating with the Football Federation, the Gabonese Football Federation, but we also have the Honorary Consul in Angola of Gambia, Mr. Ansumana Tunkara, who's been very helpful. He's been crisscrossing back and forth the federation and coming back to see if he can get these visas on gratis, because yesterday I remember GS showing him a copy of the letter from immigration to show that we had given almost 60-something people visa free. So he could show them, because they were insisting they paid when they came here, and we said, no, you didn't. So the Honorary Council too, we have to commend him for that. He's been very helpful since we told him. He's working on that. And the Sports Council too is also part of this. Unfortunately for me, I'm going together with Marcel as the executive director, as advanced party.
I was going to ask whether there will be advanced party. When are you leaving?
Yes.
That must be in the next
We're leaving on the
days.
24th.
Ah, 24th.
We're leaving the 24th.
Yeah, and the
That's
match is 29th.
Wednesday. 25th. We're playing here the 25th.
Yeah.
So we have to go.
Is the 29th.
Yes. So we have to go and confirm the training venues, the hotels, and all the other protocols to ensure the ground is smooth, so that once the players come, they just go straight to their hotel, and we deal with the other nitty-gritties. Because mind you, DRC needs these points as we
Well,
do.
we are coming to that.
So,
so Musa, many people often wanted to know, like you deal with the protocols at the stadium, what kind of journalists and what is required of them if they can access for example, the post-match or whatever you call it, interviews and etc.
Yeah, very good, Cham. This is very important because the eyes and ears of every Gambian would be relying on the activities of the journalists on that given day. Yes, to start with, every single journalist who wants to cover this game must apply for his or her accreditation. This is from the sports press. This is something that has been ceded to the SJAG. That because we know each other, and then we ask everybody, just as you do anywhere in any tournament around the world, your details must be sent to. You must send an application as an email, which will be validated, and the cards will be. We'll sit over it as a committee, and then issue these cards by the 24th before this game. We might disqualify people. We also don't want to overflow the press tribune, because we have radio press, print, and of course television. We even have social media groups who want to cover this game. So we're just trying to make sure that there is a good accommodation there for everyone, because there's going to be free connection, internet, for the press. These are things because we want to encourage the promotion of the game. That's what the AMC, the stadium, and the federation are all doing, trying to see how best we put up a very enabling environment where the journalists can operate freely and make sure that the information is given out on the spot. There's also going to be a post-match press conference that is for the coaches. The manner in which our stadium is built, you don't have this open, free zone, mixed zones where you can have, run into players. But of course, with this COVID period also, that's even discouraged right now, which is normally could have been at the entrance of the stadium where the players are coming in, but that's not conducive, and we don't want to have people, running into each other. So, there's not going to be no mixed zone, but all that is important to note is that there's going to be a press conference, at the end of the match. But more importantly also, because the stadium is demarcated into zones. And that is for those ones who wants to be on the ground, that is from the cameraman and so on, would have to have it a negative, COVID certificates.
That's what I'm talking about. How do you work that out?
But that is for you. We don't.
For the cameraman.
Yeah. That's not our. That's not.
They have to show that too.
They have to show that. They have to show that, and they know about these things. Just like the match we had against Gabon, we don't conduct COVID tests. You go.
So they go and get.
And this is well stated and well cleared in
That's
the communique.
For cameramen.
That's for cameramen and photographers and cameramen who might be on the ground, because you have zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. Yeah.
Good. Before we come to the permutations, there's a lot of issues about the 25-man squad named by the coach. Of course, none of us is coach, and we can read his mind and state his reasons for his. But we can talk about it because our people have reacted to it. There are issues like, for example, why has he still not given chance to Ali Shaw, who, if you check in the court of public opinion among Gambian football fans, have every reason to be in the squad, even if he was going to be in the reserve. People believe his contributions, given his current form, really would be very helpful to the squad. But again and again, he's not been present in the fight.
As recent as this morning, I had a call from someone.
Exactly.
Screaming on the phone. Send coach, why is your coach not selecting Ali Sow? I'm like, I am not the coach.
Yes.
This is your show.
Exactly.
You are at liberty to invite anybody you want. Just because somebody is a very good public speaker in the streets doesn't mean you should invite them here.
Exactly, yes, that's true.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So you are at liberty because you're looking, there's something that you're looking for. What you're looking for, you know who can give you that.
Yes.
I keep telling everyone, I'm not the coach. Neither is Kaba or Bax or Ibufai or Lang or any of my colleagues like the executive. The coach has been employed to perform a duty. And we allow him to do his job. None of us interferes.
But persistently, even despite enormous...
He's getting the results.
I'm saying, no,
he's getting his results.
Could the results have been better?
What if we ask him, what if he brings in Ali Sow?
But no, listen.
And he loses again.
We said, even if Ali could be even a reserve, I mean, he had the opportunity, 90 minutes, to utilize the ones he trusted most. Yeah. Perhaps at some point he may feel the need to bring in Ali. Now, you said he had been getting results. But who knows if Ali had been participating, we probably would have been 10 points.
That's why I said, I am not the coach and I do not want to speak for the coach.
And then there are issues like people who probably may not be currently active, yet they are invited.
Again, the coach knows what he is doing. He's the one that has been tasked to do the job, and that's what he gets paid for. I do not know why he's doing that. He has his reasons. As I said, you're running your program here. You're at liberty.
Yeah, I understand, but I cannot discount.
Do you have the best journalists here?
No, I cannot.
You're at liberty to bring in whoever you want. Why is Musa not working for you?
But I cannot discount the fact.
That's the thing. You know, the coach is at liberty. Yeah. We are fans. Yeah. We are very enthusiastic. We use sentiments, sometimes emotions override us. Yeah. Oh, why is he not selecting this? I may have somebody that I want him to select. Musa Barrow came from my club. There were games he wasn't starting. People would call me, Musa si bench bila mo talk. He's sitting on the bench and he plays in Serie A. The coach knows what he wants. He knows what he wants and he's doing his job. Anyway. Let us allow him to do the job.
Why is he not? Why is he not explaining? He's not even in Banjul. Why is he not in Banjul at the moment?
He's traveling with the players.
He's traveling with the players.
Yes.
He hasn't said much about his selection.
I think this is one of the things in which we might be jumping the gun as to why Ali is not in the 25-man squad, because we have to hear from him.
Yes.
And I don't
he
think
hasn't said it.
I'm sorry, I don't know whether he spoke. I haven't heard what he said, if he had said anything about Ali's exclusion from the 25-man squad. Let me come. Sanyang, is a good player in
Sheriff's club wouldn't let him. That one I know.
That's another thing. Yeah.
We're coming to that, and also we talk about Ali Sow. Ali, I think this is the most wonderful situation, Sadibu. We have to make sure that we make this thing very clear. The Gambia has ever been in terms of selection players. When have we ever selected a group of 50 players, all foreign based, all with a certain pedigree in making a claim to a national team spot as a selection? When?
Are you suggesting we now have a lot to draw from?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And there are more. You talk about. My own brother is playing top football in Finland.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be. He's a centre back, and I don't rate any club. And I don't rate any of these centre backs. For example, allow me. For example, I don't rate any of these centre backs better than him because for the last 3 seasons he's been the best defender in Finland, but it's not called. Yeah. For example, those sentiments don't apply to me. I'm a football person. I'm a sports person. Yeah. But of course, as Sadibu mentioned, we must allow you to do your job. Yeah. Firstly, we might want to see Ali play. I want to see Ali in the squad. But more importantly for me, I want to see even a stronger bench, than the first 11. That's where our strength is. Yes. If, for example, the coach, but before I say anything about it, I would definitely want to hear from him why is Ali not in the 25-man squad?
You know, Musa, I agree with you, Sadibu, that everybody must know about some player you fit, or you really think that has a role in the team. But then you cannot discount the fact that there is a massive, convergence of opinion that this man certainly has some qualities
but I think
that could have helped and persistently.
I think he has invited Ali before. This is not like he's never invited you.
No, but that was when?
Against Togo, was it?
He was invited.
Against Togo.
Ali was here.
Against Togo.
When did he last play for the
Against Togo. He was invited. Against Togo. That's why I said it's not like...
Persistently people are always disappointed that he's not in the team over the last important matches. Yet he's scoring.
You and I haven't done a coaching course.
Yeah. We don't.
No, you and I haven't done a coaching course. We are just going to use emotions. Sometimes we even watch these professional the Premier League.
I know very
and we
well.
think
I understand.
You know, look at Chelsea.
What
for
a
instance.
coach.
This is fandom is here. This is fandom is here.
What a coach learns from his team on players, laymen like us don't.
Absolutely.
We just see free-flowing football. We see the coach look at how his attack is coordinated, how his defense is weak, or how so many other things he considers. We know that.
And probably those who take his instructions or those who do what he wants. I'm not a technical person.
I think, Cham, the issue of Ali Sow, yes, I mean, Ali is just like my son. You know, he was playing football with his father. He just lives behind me. But I would like to suggest, and I would like to think, unless and until the coach comes out and tell the public, this is why, for example...
Why is he not doing now? He could do it in Paris or...
Ask him the question.
You reach out to him, probably, and then, you know, I think others do.
Yes, and it's difficult because so many other journalists try to get...
Post-match conference, I've never had anyone ask him that post-match conference.
No, I think he's been asked these things many a time.
But I'm saying, in big clubs, in big countries, Angola named their squad, and the coach... try to explain.
Yeah, I think
some other people try to. Now this time, he mentioned 25 people. He is anybody can talk to anybody now in the world.
Yeah,
he's not making any explanation.
But I think
people want to know.
I think after making his selections, I think one thing I would like to suggest. I mean that why he was unable to make name his team much earlier than he did was simply because of all these things emanating COVID restrictions.
Yeah, I know,
clubs here and
that's
there.
That's why he made 45.
Yeah, because and people are suggesting why all this number. And I mean,
it may well be the case that maybe Ali is not released by his club. One reason
we have no idea.
I'm not privy to, but it was good Musa mentioned.
All the more reason he should.
Even when I saw the 50-man squad, I've seen people sending comments like, why a 50-man, just a 35-man?
No idea.
Everybody is a technician now in Gambia. Everybody is a technician in Gambia. They can analyze Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich for you much more than exactly.
Even better than Zidane. They may have a better choice for Mourinho
than the coach.
So that's the thing. But he had his reasons, because if you look at our last game against Gabon, there were certain players that were called, and as I said, this new FIFA rule.
Yeah.
You know, if you do not, if a player is going to go to quarantine. Yeah. Once they return from an international 10 days, even for 5 days,
the club is naturally reluctant.
Look at France.
France has blocked
all the players in France are not going.
League 1 and League 2.
Exactly. We are lucky that we do not have
players playing there.
But these are some of the issues. So he had to name.
I hope we have a lot of Congolese players.
No, and apparently they have only one or two.
That would have been.
They have a few.
Only one or two.
But because he had to. There's a period of time that you have to send these invitations to the clubs.
Absolutely.
So he had to name a 50-man squad, make it public, and then send it to their club so they are aware.
Yeah.
There are certain clubs that were writing back to say, we want to know the travel itinerary. What dates are they leaving? Is it a charter flight? And all of that. So they want to get all this information. So he had to release this squad and send it to those, to all those countries, so they know that these players have been invited. Now, when the time comes nearer, then he can trim his team. Of course, you'd have injuries. You have some players pulling up. For instance, I didn't see Modubaro. I said, somebody told me that, I think it's a COVID,
COVID restrictions.
Yes. So some of that, like I said, even this morning, I was told that Sanyang, that was the issue, because, so as I said, these are some of the reasons, but everybody's a technician. So sometimes when somebody's given a job, I think we should just allow them to do their job. Of course, it is our right to question certain decisions. But then again...
But we can only question.
Exactly. You cannot enforce that. Some people are insisting that with the position we are is enviable. So what we should do is to try as much as possible not to distract and not to bring in that chaos into the camp. Because when you start bringing that, why is Ali not selected? Why is,
no.
He's not complaining, has he? I've not seen him come out complaining.
But then of course there's nothing we can do, like you said, in this day and age. Stop people from saying loudly what they can
but that is why it's important to say the right thing because there's so much disinformation and misinformation going on around these things. Most of us, as Sadio mentioned, just assuming that this is what it is and that's what it should be. And that's not never the case. You don't want me to do your job, and I don't want to do my job. I mean, so.
But then if my job is a public job,
yeah,
but
still,
people from
still,
that's nonsense.
Yeah, but
this is
that's what they will always say. But that's what they will always happen. I mean, but you will never do the job for me, and at the end of the day, I am the one who's going to be sacked.
Well,
so it's not you.
If I flop, yes.
Yes.
The president is at liberty to choose his minister of youth and sports.
Yes.
Some of us might agree, some of us might not agree.
There you go. That's a good example.
So when you entrust somebody with a job, you allow the
him
person.
Now you mentioned government. Now I'm saying now. I mean, does the government realize what you and I realize, that we are potentially on the brink of a big international sporting achievement that is qualifying for the Nations Cup? Does the government have the realization that these two matches we are going into, yes, they have put up a plan, I know, they know the significance, but this is one big project that even governments could run away with for political propaganda. For President Jammeh was very much identified with the under 17, he called them baby scorpions, and gave them $1 million in 2009 when they won the cup again in Algeria. How much enthusiasm is in this government about this match? Do they really know that we probably are going to make history, which can be a big propaganda tool for them? We have to say it. Politicians like to bask in the glory of, and we have to say it.
I can assure you they've put in more than 100% time, resources, and effort.
Yeah.
The ministry has been with us from day one. Whatever we're doing, they're aware, and they're with us all throughout. That's why I'm even going as advanced party with the executive director of the National Sports Council, just to show you how much importance the ministry has plowed into this.
I'm talking about cabinet.
Even at government level, I'm telling you, you mentioned Jammeh giving the under 17 $1 million. Who knows where he got that money from?
Well,
I do not know.
Money, but
yes, but you've already seen the president had called the team during their last game. He called them directly and spoke to them over the phone. That has not happened. That has not happened. I'm telling you in the current government. At the time, since when the Kaba government, the Kaba-led executive came into power, the GFF and the Jammeh, the relationship wasn't all of that, because you understand. I don't remember him calling the national team at that time. That was then during the Paul Put era. I'm telling you, you've seen the president had given the U20.
I was coming to that. We were
and he called them. The minister had to go. Even the executive director went to Mauritania. Yeah. So they're doing these things because they're showing how much importance they put into this,
especially in these two.
No, let me come in here just to go a little bit further, because I mean, when you talk about the government, of course I don't work for government, but I mean government commitment, because the finance for the the youth ministry comes from the finance ministry. That's where if you wish, the chancellor of our exchequer. I mean, that's where all the money comes from. And let me.
But when you want to say the minister is sympathetic to the youth,
not just sympathetic, but just to show the commitment. Because let me just demystify something here. That ministry, from the minister is a sports guy. He's a football guy. You know, you have youths there who are very much into football, who are very much, I mean, responsible for some of these, the financing or justifying these monies being spent on these national teams. The commitment is beyond. I mean, privy to what I know, and I mean some of these things. That is why what is happening right now is happening, because, to be honest, these things never happen in our game, in Gambian football history.
You know, you and I, who are in the field every day, knows this. That's why I want to know whether the people in government
this is shattering a flight.
I understand they may know all that, but then they are fully oriented. Because are on the brink of big history international.
What I want to say, or what I don't want to say, is to just tell you that government is far more informed, because one, the sports minister knows what is at stake. He knows what is about to happen. The ministry that is going to provide probably all the funds when we cross, you know, when we reach the Holy Grail, knows fully well what's at stake. Preparations are underway, because they don't want no surprises. Anticipating. Okay, if you anticipate something, you have to know that you have a plan already. Good. And I would tell you that the government has a plan as to the day we say we've qualified, then you will see how fast this horse is going to run.
Let's go into the competitions. Like I said, Musa is He's not independent when it comes to.
So are you going to be independent when it comes to
well,
the national team right now?
Independent cap away. I always want
from the onset.
Patriotic than be independent.
I always
oh yeah, you got it.
Over patriotism can give overconfidence. So you have to be realistic. Now, 4 teams, 2 will have to qualify. We are sitting at the top. Well, of course, we shared 7 points. DR Congo, is just a point behind us.
On 6 points.
Yeah, 6 points. If, God forbid, they should go on to get 6 points, 3 will be out of us. That will hamper our ambitions. But I want to say.
But that comes in the latter.
That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about Congo.
Yeah,
but they have everything to play for.
Let them
if we also beat them.
No, I'm coming now. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So now, to be in contention, to continue to be in contention for first or second place, I think it's a must that we win in Banjul.
Firstly.
That one is not negotiable. You agree with me?
Sorry,
there are 2 things that are...
No, but the match in Banjul, victory is not negotiable in that if we are going to continue.
Of course.
So that's
yeah,
of course.
That sets us up.
That's a fact.
Of course, of late we've been getting results at home. So, we're hoping that continues and we pray, that happens. We get the results against Angola. When we win against Angola,
that will definitely
put us in pole position.
That is all what
so that means the home match against Angola
is everything for us.
It's a decider.
That is why it's so crucial to us. This is not about, okay, right now, let's be fans.
Yes.
Yeah? Fine. The permutations you're talking about, firstly, on that very day, Gabon is going to play Congo.
Yes.
That's where the elimination would come in. And it will even make it more trickier. For example, if we, because it has to be all on if. We're playing,
that is the issue.
If we are playing Angola at home, who are on a 1 point, who have absolutely 0 chance.
Yes.
Yeah, but they might play for respect.
Exactly.
Absolutely, and no one can stop them from doing that.
Yes.
As Sadi mentioned from the earlier, our destiny is in our own hands. We must show that we want this thing more than any of them.
Yes.
If I'm a player, but I'm not, I'm just talking right now. Long may they cancel each other out, that is Gabon and Congo, fine. And we pick, me thinking of putting on my fandom cap right now, me thinking that we brush aside Angola.
That is not negotiable.
This is
that where we have to win that if we are ever going to stay in contention for anything.
Yes. No, what we don't even want to do or happen to see happen is anything that is even a draw here.
No, that's
Angola,
not. I'm telling you, victory is not negotiable.
No, it's not negotiable.
There's no 2 choice.
There's no
if. 2 lines. That one we have to win.
It starts from here.
If we have to go.
We don't care what happens, or we should not care what happens to them.
If we get 3 points here, I can tell you, whatever happened between Gabon and
is
Congo,
there a problem?
Well, we can take care of it.
We will still maintain wherever we are.
So,
and there is nothing.
If we win against Angola here, and Gabon also beats DRC, because DRC is going to play against Gabon at home to Gabon.
In Liverpool,
So which means we are all through.
Yeah.
If Gambia wins Angola, I'm just giving you, if Gambia wins Angola.
That will give us 10 points. Let's go ahead.
Yes.
That will give us 10 points.
Yes.
And
also gives Gabon 10 points.
If they win against Congo.
Yes, because both the home matches, the teams that are playing home matches, the 25th.
Yeah.
If Gambia beats Angola,
yeah.
Gabon beats DRC. We are 10-10, DRC 6.
Assuming that
even if DRC...
You are assuming that on the 25th fixture...
Yes.
It's a determinant.
The home matches.
That one, the host countries potentially are winners.
We can
if
seal
they
it up
win those games.
If it goes that way, we and Gabon are home and dry.
Yes.
We are all good.
Because all that, for example, Congo can do is only 9 points. Even if they beat us in
Congo.
Congo.
Even if they beat us 100
million.
million.
Of course, Congo can beat...
No, it's
Gabon.
also possible.
But then again, we can equally beat them.
Okay, I think we have to be realistic.
Yeah.
Definitely we have come so close.
We've never come this close.
Never probably have come this close to qualify. But we should not run the risk of giving our people that this is going to be a stroll in the park.
Oh, no.
We must have to win here in Banjul and hope that the results between Gabon and Congo, and even the one between us and them, goes our way.
Cham, you see, I think this is where, this is not a bantaba. We cannot make it a bantaba. We are very realistic in what is on the table in here.
Yeah.
you cannot say anything beyond crucial in describing these two games.
Absolutely.
Firstly, the match at home.
Yes.
And I think everyone associated with it, and that's what I want to think, knows how important it is. It is the most important game they will ever be engaged in.
The 25th.
And more importantly also, Cham, football in this country has never been this good. All the men and women who had toiled before were just working on for such a day, such a moment. All those men who had done this hard, come this far, we thought they were the best ever, could have gotten us to that level, to this place. They were all working on for such a day and moment. And we must give credit to them because they made this possible. Wherever they are, most of them gone, most of them here, listening to us or wanting to see that this thing happen. We must give credit to them. And of course, the support. Now,
Well,
it is up to it's up to these boys right now to feel how everyone is feeling, to leave this spirit, to make sure that they do the job. It's just for them to complete it.
Absolutely. That's what I was going to say. I mean, unfortunately, of course, because of these closed door things, people cannot come. But then, of course, inside there.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if if the gates of the stadium were open? What's going to happen? Could we control this crowd?
You'll have people on the poles again.
Oh, holy!
We will have problem like we had against.
Oh my goodness me, we will.
The issue now, we mentioned government's commitment, but now the most important thing you just touched as the players. Do they have this realization that they have come, they are on the brink of achieving something that is going to really, in fact, make them, into what I cannot describe, indescribably, written in the hearts of the government. Do you have that realization?
I wish the team
Captain
manager was
Jan,
has
been talking very nicely.
Oh yes,
inspiring.
Absolutely.
I wish the team manager Cho Usman Drame was here to tell you because I interact with some of these players too, and sometimes they tell you be swing time la. That's how bad they want it.
That's how they want it.
But now most of our players are playing in top leagues, and when you go back to your leagues, they're asking you where do you play.
Yeah,
you understand. So they want to be, and if you look at even if you look at CAF now, they have these technical and development committees where they put these legends.
Yes,
people who have played in CAF competitions and all of that.
And so on.
One reason why we are not there is because we don't have legends. Fadiga and them are all in these sort of committees
because they played it.
FIFA are using those sort of people, so these players know what is at stake.
Samuel Eto'o been touted for Secretary General of CAF or Deputy Secretary or something.
That's now going
Anthony Bafo is Deputy General Secretary of CAF, and these are this is the thing. So
for example,
these players know what is
own.
at stake. They keep telling you that this is our time. And they need it badly. They just want to get
Sadibo, just to buttress your point, how badly they need this thing. This adds to their market value.
Absolutely.
This adds to their
if we don't get to the big men's club, that is the nation's cup, we have no value.
As much as they are being talked about, but they want to be seen in the biggest African stage.
Absolutely.
And what's going to happen when they are there? They will be counted. The recognition grows, the market value grows, the country itself is recognized. No single, can you imagine what that means to Gambia?
Absolutely.
And I think this is, as we are talking about, no single ambassador can go out and do what these boys can, one of these boys can do for us as a country. And I think this is where government comes in to recognize, to support, to make sure that these things happen. They know it. And this is why what is happening is happening.
And it can even work for them very well.
Big time.
Qualified. President Barrow
it's going to work for the country. It's not for President Barrow, but for the
No,
country.
listen, I know politicians. President Barrow can have another bragging right.
Why not?
I am the first to qualify.
Absolutely.
What's going to happen?
I hope it happens.
What is going to happen to Kawa and the executive and Sadiq and everybody?
They will be over the moon. But let's go back to the under-20, and we congratulate the GFF and the team for coming up third place. And I think that was the furthest we ever went in this competition back in 2007 when we won bronze in Brazzaville. That was Congo Brazzaville through the late Peter Bono Johnson. The team did tremendously well, but now let's address these things now, Sadibo. When they were coming or when they have arrived, there were issues like have they been adequately paid? Bonuses and what happened to the 2 million that the president or the government pledged in their bonus. There have been widespread speculations that they were not properly taken care of in the Transit Hotel in Casablanca, and since they've arrived, comparisons have been drawn as to, for example, how much money was paid to Uganda. Finally, they didn't get the cup, etc. But are the under-20 boys adequately taken care of financially, or whatever is due to them? I want to know.
Okay, Mr. Cham, each category of these national teams has an allowance structure.
Okay.
That is agreed by everybody, and that is what the GFF uses.
Okay.
And these things are budgeted for. Everybody spends according to your budget.
Okay.
There was an allowance structure for the senior team that is approved by the government. There's an allowance structure for the U20, which the GFF pays, not the government, because government takes care of the senior national team.
Oh, yes.
The youth categories are taken care of by the GFF. And that equally goes for the U17. Now, coming to the 2 million, that 2 million was given to these players. It did not even come into GFF's account.
Directly?
That was...
Before they went to Mauritania?
Yes.
Okay.
I can confirm because I have two players from my club, Hawks, that acknowledge receipt of their, their part of the money.
Okay.
So that was given to them. GFF had nothing to do with it.
Even before they leave for Mauritania?
Even before they left. Now, regarding the allowances that they get paid,
yes,
whether it's adequate or it's not adequate, that is not for me to decide, because
that is something agreed upon already.
It's something that has been agreed upon. What can be done is to say, we feel these allowances are not enough, let us try to improve it. If they felt it wasn't adequate before they left, they could have said, this is not adequate, we're not leaving, we need this. But this is something that was agreed upon. They had their own allowance structure. Okay? That is the second part.
I would just come in there before we go in.
No,
because that's something, that's also something,
we will address the sentiments around it, but
no,
exactly.
it's not sentiment. Good.
Policy.
So the allowances that they were supposed to be paid, I wouldn't come here and disclose that, because that is, confidential. Unless they want to come and talk about that.
Okay.
But they were paid every allowance that was due to them. It was the camping allowance, because some of the coaches are not full-time. They call it engagement allowance.
Okay.
That is given to them.
All right.
What we have to understand is youth categories don't get these. But we are doing that. Other countries are also doing that. It's sort of an enticement.
Okay.
That is why even when you win the U20 tournament, there is no prize money.
Exactly.
Because when they're camping them, they call these things developmental. So people have to understand that. In CAF and FIFA, at developmental level, there's no such thing as camping allowance or prize money.
That's why I say the policy is most common.
Exactly, and that is not DFF policy. But we feel that because they're going for these sort of tournaments, there should be a certain amount.
Yeah.
And the current executive has moved from the initial amount that was being given to them to the current amount that is being given to them. We had even talked amongst ourselves, saying we should propose something to these boys when they win the league. Sometimes when you talk about these things and you bring it to the public domain, you're putting so much pressure on these boys. Their parents or their friends are expecting, when they come, they're expecting this much. Everybody's like, you have like a swarm of bees around them. So these are things we discuss internally before we bring it to the public domain. We had even tasked some of the executive to contact government with a view to securing a certain amount of money. The president is giving them 2 million. And we know, he would come up with another amount. It's just a matter of when, not if. Because bearing in mind that the amount of, the concentration and the focus the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports has put into the sports, football in particular, we know he is definitely going to do something. Because there was a team that came from the ministry to go to Mauritania.
Okay.
Now, the other issue about the hotel, the players were in transit in Mauritania.
In Casablanca.
In Casablanca. If you're on transit, it is the airline that is responsible for this. I can assure you that one of the boys that was on that video told me categorically, when he went in there, they had served them dinner.
Yes.
The dinner they served him, he doesn't eat that. So he went to the other boy's room to say he wanted milk. They will come up with these stories. I saw the video and I said, what happened? He said, no, I went into that room to get milk. And this other boy was videoing us. We didn't know. So he said he sent it to a friend of his and that went viral. You understand? And JFF has, asked that the matter be looked into to determine that. But whilst they were on transit, because when we were in transit in Morocco, there's this hotel, it's either Sky or Atlas or something. The airline is responsible.
Yeah, I know.
The timing they came in, there was a time they came in and I think, the food had run out and they were preparing certain foods for them.
I know.
So sometimes you have these issues coming in. But if you have that, I would say, why don't you go to the coach and say, coach, listen, we just got here, there's no food, there's a head of delegation. And there's a team manager. Tell the team manager, we've come here and the food is not ready, and let them go and sort that out. But you are there, You have not asked questions. You take a video and post it. You know, this is what happens.
Problem with the now generation.
And we have an uninformed, we have an uninformed viewers or informed, spectators or audience that would just take the news and disseminate it like that.
Yes.
So those things happen. So for me, what I always say is, whoever was the first journalist that laid hands on it and distributed it or disseminated the information, what you could have done is, okay, let me find out.
Cross check.
How many times do you call me?
I know.
You do that with Musa.
Yeah.
When you get information, call the person and find out, okay, we've seen this and we want to verify the authenticity of this story. So that was it. But I can assure you, there was no such thing as they were there and there was no food.
No food.
How can they go all the way to that place? And the Moroccans, I can assure you, if we are there, even on a training camp, all we do is just buy tickets, get to Morocco. They take care of us, everybody.
Yeah,
feeding and accommodation.
Relationship.
So even if it was an issue whereby the team was, if you said it was another country, one could even start speculating. But if it's in Morocco, all the president could have done or the general secretary could have done would be call their counterparts to say our team is stranded in Morocco. We need food or we need this. But that was not the case. So it was just an issue of somebody disseminating information jokingly, and it turned out to be that, and then
viral. And when it comes to national teams, especially after such an achievement, they win the hearts of a lot of people, and people sentimentally would be, talking and defending them when they don't know the policies and exactly what happened. That's what happened in this case.
It's one of those things, and unfortunately, times have changed. A lot. That was happening is not happening anymore. There were endless restrictions before, and now there is a free flow of movement of people here and there. And but when you talk about these youngsters, we talk about, especially on television, that there should be a football education. Yeah. And especially it starts from the clubs. These guys are youngsters. They are still on the developmental stage. They are not that exposed. They don't see much. They haven't done much, and they have not interacted that much. So sometimes they are just easily taken. Like that. But coming back to the issue of support for this under 20, Sadi was talking about. I know what was happening besides this other ones that he was talking about. That the willingness and the preparedness of government to support because of their efforts, in recognition of their efforts. And it's not about when, it's not about if, it is about when. Because this thing was even supposed to happen before the boys came home. This was the plan. So just to buttress, what Sadi was saying, and then their efforts were well recognized, and I think everyone associated with the team, Matar and everybody, and of course, I think the general public were even happy with them. So this is why this is what moved. From the most unsuspected of quarters, you know what? We must do something for these boys.
Absolutely.
And this is how it even got to the sports minister.
Unfortunately, the World Series, which would have exposed the boys,
was cancelled. Never took place in Indonesia.
That is the saddest thing there. But finally, gentlemen, March the 25th, Gambia versus Angola. Finally, what's your last word on that?
A must-win game.
A must-win. Musa?
That's what I want.
In Kinshasa?
And just a point would do for me.
So we need 4 points. You know what? Technical director Sanyang, before proceedings were halted because of the COVID, he had said, Gambia need 2 victories. If we secure the 2 victories
in this qualifying round.
No, that was before. You remember? Things were stopped, and those 2 matches he's talking about. He said we needed 2 victories. We had one against Gabon. Unfortunately, they beat us the other. Yes. So according to Sang's permutations, we still have 1 match
to win.
Yeah. And he showed that if we win that, we are in pole position.
We'll have to refer him as a reference. I think he might be right.
Right, Sadimu Kamaso, executive member of the Gambia Football Federation, Musa's the president. Musa, he's the president of the Sports Journalists Association and a member of the Events Management Committee. Thank you very much for coming to the studio and talking about our football. Like we said, we all pray. We are on the brink of qualifying to the African Nations Cup if we can do well in these 2 crucial matches against Angola in Banjul and Congo in Kinshasa. I'm sure if we come back here the end of March, next week perhaps, we would have really got all to celebrate.
Okay.
That will be exclusively sports, I can promise. We will bring the Illiman, the Kroat, and everybody else. All right, until I come back your way next week, this is Lamin Cham wishing you all a very good weekend.
In communication, connectivity is everything. We ensure that the links never sleep. Quantities and qualities, all in our data service, providing efficient, reliable voice and data service. We believe if you're not up to speed, then you're going backwards. Communications have to flow as fast as the speed of light. Whatever business you're in, having someone who understands your needs is critical. That is why we just don't offer you technology, we offer you solutions. Enjoy Gamcel's internet broadband anytime, anywhere. Your national operator, Gamcel, Yaibaram.
For all your pastry, bakery, and quality food, CK Restaurant is the only place to be. We do catering for birthdays, weddings, and all related services. We have all kinds of local foods, American, European, and even beyond. Come and have a taste of our local juice, ebe, and other services. At CK Restaurant, customer satisfaction is our priority.
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.